Hello and welcome to another episode of We Ain't Got a Fucking Clue What We're Doing and It's Taking All Our Money Off Us. In today's episode we're going to be making overhead cabinets. Look at this. I have made an overhead cabinet. Hang on. Ta-da! I've not put the backing in yet, but looks alright, doesn't it? So, I'll let the VT run and then we'll explain what we're going to do today. Right, so we're at the back of the van. Down here is where the electrical unit is going to be going, which we're going to be making a start on pretty soon. I've got all the components for it. They're just in the living room. We've been staring at it for about a week going, what the fuck do we do with this? So whilst we try and figure that out, I thought I'd get this cabinet made up the top, so we're not faffing about once the electrics are in. Quick overview, because what we're going to do, I'm going to do exactly the same down the other end so you can watch it. But I've put a batten in the top, I've put a batten underneath here because there wasn't any screw space, if you will, to screw the back of the cabinet into the wall. So what I've done is put a batten there and I've rested the cabinet on that batten and then screwed it into the top and screwed it, well, there's nothing in that side, but I've screwed it on this side into the side of the fridge cabinet. Put some doors on, totally used the wrong hinges, they are a bag of wank. I will not be doing that on the next one, but overall looks good, dead happy with it. We're going to put some backing in there using the, what do you call it, the tartan fabric stuff to finish it off, but that'll be later once I've got all the electrics in the right place. So let that go. Let's go down to the front now and show you where we're going to put the new cabinet. Right, that, obviously bathroom, front of the cab, over the seating area is going to be this cabinet. It's going to be exactly the same. I'm going to put a batten in the top here. And because I made a mistake, not thinking ahead, as you do, where we've placed the switchboard. Hang on. If you remember, we made the switchboard. That's going to be there, but the problem with that is that it's not left us a lot of depth, or height should I say, for the cabinet itself. So the new cabinet here is not going to be as, is it deep or is it high? It's not going to be as high as the one over there. It's going to be quite short, but we're going to make it a little bit deeper. Deep, short, shallow, whatever. It's going to be less this way, more this way. To make up for it. It's actually worked out alright because we were thinking where that's going to be, it will mean we don't hit our heads when we sit down and stand up because it's quite high. So that'll be good. There's, if I remember rightly, there isn't any screw space. Behind there is quite hollow, there's no metal beams or anything. So what we're going to do is put a beam in across here, where I've got it knocking about somewhere. Put a beam in across the top like we have with the other one, but with a bonus on this, because we've got two solid sides, if you look over there, I've just screwed in that half of the bulkhead that we fabriced, so I can use that and the side of the bathroom to screw into, so that will hold up the cabinet. A couple of screws in the top, a couple of screws just into this thin ply, absolutely fine, it'll be solid to hold whatever we need to put it in. So that's the overview. I have cut the beam to go across here. I have measured what I need in terms of the green board. So we're using the green board for this and two of the birch ply doors just to break up the colour a little bit. So I'm going to cut a bit of wood and we'll go from there. So I've cut these middle bits. There's going to be one either end, two in the middle, because it makes it easier for doing the pocket holes in the cross beams. I've cut a little chunk out for the cables to get through at the back, which you won't see because there'll be a backing in, so not worried about that. So essentially one there, two in the middle, like that, and then a couple of cross beams here and there, just like we did with the kitchen frame, pretty much the same thing. And then we can fix this in place and then think about putting the doors on. As for fixings, I'm just using pocket holes like I have done everywhere else. So I'm going to put some in there and on the inside of the, can you see that? There'll be one on the end there, there'll be some pocket holes going that way, pocket holes in the middle, and we'll cover them up with some birch plywood strips, and that will also act as door stops, which I'll show you in a few minutes. So we shouldn't see any screws, maybe a couple in the top where it attaches to the batten that's in the ceiling, but other than that I think we're good to go, and I think that will look nice. Right, I've squeezed a bit of glue in between the two pieces. That's just clamped on, just to hold them together. I've sanded down the backs. I think this should fit perfectly now. I've been back and forth twice just to do a little couple of little adjustments, and I think we're good to go. So let's do a test fit one more time, see if it fits, and then we'll think about how to screw it all into the wall. Right, let's see what this looks like. Carefully. There should be space for the cables in that top corner. Again, the cables will be hidden, so you won't see anything. Okay, looks good, gaps look good, I think. Give that a push to the wall. So, what can you see? Oh, that's alright. There'll be a batten. Where's my little batten example? Hang on, I'm going to drop this one. Right, there will be a batten that will screw to the beam in the van, and we'll pocket hole to either end, and then that will be there essentially. So I'll push that up where it's going to go there, so we can get a couple of screws into the batten, two what they called cabinet connectors, they're similar to what we used in the kitchen. We'll put two in through that side into that bathroom wall, and two through this side through the bulkhead thing that we've got there. Do we need more? I might just put a little strut on the back just to screw into the back wall, so it's a little bit of extra support. But you know, it's not heavy, it's not big. Even with the doors, it doesn't weigh that much, so there's loads of support everywhere. That'll get pushed up, and we're going to take this off now. We're going to make a couple of little covers. I don't know if you can see from that angle, but there's pocket hole screws obviously everywhere. So we're going to cut a little bit of birch ply off as a cover for them, but it will also act as a door stop for when the door closes. What else? I think that's it for now. how this came out. Hopefully that will slide in and cover those pocket holes. Perfect. And what we'll do is we'll just adhesive these on with some bonding, but we'll make sure that it is the thickness of the door we're going to use, and then when the door closes like that, it'll act as a door stop and the door will finish perfect. So we'll bond these on, give that 20 minutes, and then what's next? Doors, I suppose. Right, I've got everything cut. Let me show you on these ones that I've finished, the hinges. They're Eclipse, I can't remember where I got them from. I think it was Screwfix or something like that. They're okay, but there's no adjustment to them. So if you get them in the wrong place, that's it, that's where they stay. And they are wobbly. They're not sturdy. I don't know if you can see that moving, but it's just not great. I was going to use normal cabinet hinges that you have to bore the hole out of like we did in the kitchen. However, it's bank holiday, everywhere's shut, the only places that are open are selling those style of hinges, and everything else is not made for inset doors. So I have the option of waiting, which I'm not very patient today because I've only got today to work on it, or go to the shop and get the same hinges. So I went back to the shop. They had a same style of hinge but a different brand, and I read that it was a bit sturdier. I don't know what this brand is, Spear something, I can't read it properly. So I'm going to have a little fiddle around with this on a bit of a test piece, see if I can line up the screws, because they come with no instructions as always, and then try these. If this doesn't work, it's not really the end of the world. I can take these doors off and get proper cabinet hinges. I thought these might be a good idea because they tend to stay up just about if your door is small enough. Just about. When I put them on at first, they did actually stay up, but the more I've used it, the less it's now staying up. So the question is, do I care about them staying up, or shall I put some struts in? Whatever, time will tell. So let's get these on, and then we can get the actual cupboard up into the space. I've turned the unit upside down. I've got to attach the hinges onto this, but because it's so shallow, I can't get the drill to make the hole. So I've got a little 90-degree bend screwdriver thing, and I'm just trying to cram this in, make a hole with a pointy screw, and then use the hinge screws when I put the hinges on, but it's just a little awkward. Right, I've left them quite loose so we can just manoeuvre it, and hopefully we can get it in the right place. Turn it over. Actually, I don't need to turn it over, do I? Right, so sides look okay, bit close there, just need to come up a little bit. Stick a couple of little spacers in. Oh, shit. On that. On there with any luck. I've stuck that right where the hinge is, you donut. Try again. Right, 2mm there, 2mm there. That all looks good, so I'll fasten that from the inside. Right, gaps look good. Take them out now. That looks good. Happy days, okay. I like that. That's good. Right, I'll do the other one and then we can get some handles on, give everything an oil, pin it to the ceiling, and we're happy. Right, let's have it. Pass it over. I'm hooked on, let go.
You're not?
I am on this end.
Alright.
Oh, I could do with opening those doors.
Could you?
Here you get a little screwdriver.
Oh no.
Right, that is in. It's solid. Like, that ain't going anywhere, I promise you. Imagine if it fell off now, so I'm testing. We've got the same handles as we're using in the kitchen, so everything matches. I've already measured and drilled the holes for it, exactly the same way as we did in the kitchen. I've just realised as I'm screwing this last one on, I've not oiled the wood yet. So I'm going to have to take these door handles off, but at least we can have a look at what it looks like. That looks good, doesn't it? I'm pretty happy with that, really happy. And weirdly, even though those hinges are the same style, they are much more sturdy than the other ones, so I might get a couple more of these and stick them on that down there, because that's really good. And they're staying up as well. Oh. Yeah, very happy with that. Right, same in the kitchen, Osmo oil stuff. A couple of coats will be fine. I've done one already, it's looking good. Ow, that hurt my finger. 2 cloths, one to put it on, just slap it on everywhere. Another cloth just to wipe off the excess, and happy days. And just like that, 2 finished doors. How nice are they? Very, very happy with that. This is the times of DIY that I really love, because it just comes together and you go, I made that. That's great. Right, I think it's been a couple of weeks since the last video that I made, and I think we ended it with me saying I was going to do the backing for the overhead cabinets. However, I got carried away in the midst of things, and I've made off camera, I have made a I don't know if this is cabinet or a shelf, but some form of shelf for above the kitchen. So I'm over the kitchen here. I didn't want this big stick out shelf because I didn't want this feeling of like claustrophobia. So what we decided to do is do a very narrow shelf with a little lip on so nothing falls out, and I'm going to put some bungee cord through and across here so nothing will just fall out. I've put a batten on the ceiling. It's exactly the same methods that I've used for the other overheads. I've put a batten on the ceiling. I'm going to put a batten on the wall here for the back of this to sit onto, like a lip. So where is that? That will be there like that. And then the actual unit itself, which I can just show you, will sit up here, about there, and be pressed in that way. And then the bungee cords will come across the front there, which again I'll show you in a minute. And that should give us a bit of extra storage for I don't know what, but without swallowing away at this space of, or this feeling of freedom, should I say. And I've also stuck some lights underneath. I'll show you that now. So I bought these little LED 12 volt lights. They are magnetic. They're really good. Come with instructions and little templates. They're quite strong. I can barely pick that up. So you screw on the back plate. I've cut out a little notch. So this is the back of the cabinet, which will sit across the wall there. Cut out a little notch, and that will come up the back of here, so it'll all be hidden. That just hides inside. I'm trying to do this one hand and looking at the phone, not the actual thing. And that just sits there, clips in when you find the right position. There, and then that will just hide there. Here, this little gap will be the batten that sits on the wall, so you won't see that either. And I've also, if I can show you, terrible cameraman work, I've also cut out a little notch for the cable to run through, so nothing will be visible. And I've just put 3 of them in on a warm white. I think they're like 3000K, so that'll light this. But because I like these so much and they came as a pack of 5, I'm thinking I might stick, oh shit, hang on, stick a couple underneath that upper cabinet so it's above where we're going to eat and sit. I think that might work well. However, obviously not thinking ahead, I haven't got notches for that, so I'm going to have to figure out how to get the cable through the back of there. But it shouldn't be an issue. So yeah, let's get this on the wall. Before we go, we did this because we've got this weird, on this van, stick out lip that comes across. And as it goes across the door, it gets bigger. I don't know if you can see it from that angle. It's a bit odd. Let me turn you around. So yeah, what I think we're going to do, this cabinet that we've built now, that's going to come up to the edge of this. So it's going to come up to there. And then over the door, obviously I don't want something sticking out really far, because when you walk in, you're going to smack your head on it. So I think we're going to do something very similar to this, but just very, very narrow. Maybe even just in line with that weird stick out lip that's over here. Rest it on the top, just to cover that essentially. And we're thinking maybe, if we can figure out how, maybe we will fabric all of this in this same stuff. So we'll come all the way around, fabric this, fabric down the side of there and down the bottom. And then that all looks like it's meant to be. And the cabinet will cover up the rest. It's all good in theory, but I have to figure out how to stick that up. So it should be fine. It should be fine. I mean, we'll get there. So I'm going to put this one up, see how that goes, and then build this to attach to that and to that. I'm going to put a thin bead of adhesive on this bottom ledge just to hold this against there, because there's not a lot of room for a screw really. But that's all it'll take, because once it's wedged in and screwed into the top, that will be wedged that way, and there's no way that's going to get pulled forward. So thin strip of this will be fine. Put it up, pin it in, and we're pretty much good to go. We've got the elastic to put through, but I'll do that last because I want to put the backs in and cover all this up. We're going to use the same tartan backs that we're going to put in the overhead, so I'll do that all at the same time, or Sam's going to do that. So the elastic goes in, and then we've got some edging for the two sides. This where is it? This fat, hard wearing rubber edging, which I have also put in the shower, changed what we had because this is just so much better and it's going to last forever. And you literally just push this on. Obviously I'll do it up there. What I might do is do this later on in the build, because I'm going to put the ceiling in, which will come to somewhere here. So I might just put this on. I'll do it now actually, sod it. Yeah, you just press this on and work your way down and all the way around, and it gives you that finished look. And also, if you smack your head on the edge, it won't hurt as much. These heavy duty edge guards, they've got little metal ribs in them, so they mould around things, but it makes it a little bit awkward to cut. So if you get right in between them and get lucky, you can get a knife through it. Otherwise, you'll have to get some sort of snips, metal snips of some kind. I think I've gone between them here. Should go around that corner. Press on nice and tight. Hopefully I've not cut that too short. If I have, then I've got a bit of spare. But the ceiling, when we come to do it, there'll be a batten behind it, the same thickness as that one, and then there'll be the ceiling on top of that. So you shouldn't see anything. So yeah, both edges are on. They look really nice. I've put this edge in. Let me grab my camera. Yeah, I've put this edge in here, obviously, because you just watched that. Also, bathroom, where are we? Bathroom door, so that looks a lot more professional, a bit more heavy duty. And I've stuck it around the, what they call, I always forget what this bloody thing's called. Whatever that thing's called, I've stuck it around there as well. Can you see? Looks right, doesn't it? So let's get the backs into these cupboards. Let's get Mrs. T on that.
So we have bought this 5mm flexi ply. Reason why it's flexi is because it really bends without breaking. It's really good. Which we are going to be using in the van over on the overhead cupboards. So let me show you what it looks like in the van. I've got these. Andy has made these beautiful cupboards. We're not going to have doors on these. We're going to have bits of elastic going through these holes to hold everything in. But we've got the flexi board ready. We've put these scraps of wood in with a slight curve so that when this piece of ply goes in, it will sit nicely. We'll be able to screw there and it'll sit nicely in a curve. We'll also back these with the tartan that we used on the back of the doors and on the sliding door, so that the same fabric's being used. And yeah, we can then put the elastic in. So that's the next job. We have bought this fabric called scrim. We didn't know it existed. Technically we should have used it behind everything that we fabric, so the doors, the sliding doors, etc. And basically you put it underneath the fabric so that it makes it look a little bit more professional. It makes it look fancy and it makes it look more expensive. So we're going to do that with everything now and see how we get on. We think this side that doesn't have the mesh attaches to the wood, and then the side that has the mesh on it would be where we place the fabric. So let's see how it goes. So I've now put the scrim on and then put the fabric on. To the eye there's no difference, but to the touch there is. It feels much more luxurious. So technically we should have done it on the other doors, but you can't tell the difference when you're looking at it. They fit perfectly. So this one is for this side of that one. Will tuck in there like that. This one will tuck in like We are going to screw them in, just one screw on either side. We're not going to do that just yet because we need to figure out the electrics that are going to go behind the back of that curved area. And then we'll get the elastic on, and we'll do the same with the other cupboards that Andy has done over the last few weeks. But I've run out of glue, so I need to wait for that adhesive to come, and then I'll be able to get everything else backed. And yeah, that'll hopefully be the end of the cupboards. We have bought these brackets and very large elastic wire on Amazon. It goes up onto here. So there's basically a knot, there's a knot in the back. Turn that round. That will fix to the wall and screw in. And these wires will go through each of these holes that Andy has already pre-made. And then it will, hopefully in the right place, and it will zigzag up and down and then end up finally at the top, and then I'll knot it again at the top. So the elastic is now up in place, nice and taut, looks wonderful. So we'll be able to put stuff in there and things won't fall out. Over above the door, sliding door, we're going to do something very similar. We're going to make it slightly slimmer just to cover this top area here above the door. And then if you come through to the back, we are going to be putting a small rectangular tunnel, if you will, so that we can hide the wires that go through the back of there, but also to attach the bed lights to. So it'll just be a small thing going right to the back. And that's us. So that's us all finished in this kind of area here. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and make sure you put your comments down at the bottom.